Abioye. Thank you for the invitation to share very quickly with you this morning before the panel discussion. I'll be speaking on a theme which is building bridges, collaborative solutions for trusted banking and financial services experiences. So that's the topic for today. I'll take a slightly different slant from the Honorable Justice. My my focus is slightly different. So what I would share, if we go on to the next slide, I'll give you a sense of what's changing within the banking environment, because our focus here today is on customer experience. I would also talk about the pillars of trust, because I would say that's the key word for our conversation, and I'll share some key imperatives afterwards. Now, there's a quote I'll start off with from the CEO of Salesforce. Salesforce is one of the most popular CRM solutions that I imagine a number of our banks here use. And he says that trust is a new currency in the digital world, and it's built through transparency, authenticity, and integrity. I think that's the frame for the conversation today. But because I know we also have people or our colleagues from pension, from insurance here this morning, I thought a good place to start off with is to give us a sense of where the industry is today in Nigeria. Just a few stats. When we look at the financial services landscape in Nigeria, we have about 61 million BVNs. When I look at the room, some of our banks now have 30 million, 40 million, 50 million customers. But NIB says we have 61 million BVNs. But then if you compare that to insurance penetration based on the most recent FINA survey is that penetration is somewhere around 3%. Now, some people dispute that it's slightly higher. But then I think the key takeaway is that when you compare it to banking, it's a really small number. And then if you extend that to pension, which is doing a bit better than insurance, you have about 10 million RSA accounts. Now, for me, the message here is our message here today, which is around collaboration. The need for us to work together to drive financial inclusion collectively within the markets in Nigeria. Now, but then what would financial services look like going into the future? Because as the CIBN president said, as bankers, we need to be thinking about tomorrow as well. As we think about today, we think about tomorrow as well. We believe that financial services going forward would be more integrated into our lifestyles. And we see a lot of that happening already today. So we'd see more lifestyle integration, whether in terms of payments, whether in terms of shopping or education, all of those things. Banking will be more integrated into your lifestyles. It would fit within our context at any point in time. So wherever you are, banking will come to meet you. Financial services indeed will come to meet you. But then at the middle, which I'll talk about later on, is the fact that as we go into the future, resolution would also continue to be important. Because as things go wrong, as they sometimes do, resolution will be important. But the difference is that resolution will be more proactive. Resolution will anticipate what might go wrong with customers. Banking, as we know now and going into the future, would be more automated. It will be intuitive. Banks would understand what you're looking to do even before you think about it. And we already see instances of that in our markets here and internationally as well. Banks as well will continue to be the pioneers of trust and security. For all of the slack that we give banks, when we do the survey, we still find that many people still trust banks. Now, they're not happy with banks, but then if you ask people where they will keep their money, I think they will still keep it in the with many of our banks. And then importantly is that going into the future, banking or financial services will be more proactive and it will be forward-looking. Now, how would that evolve or how would that play out? On the next slide, which is what we already see happening now, where banking or financial services becomes integrated with the rest of our lifestyles, It becomes more encompassing. So whether you're getting married or you're sending your children to school or you're buying a house or you're paying your electricity bills, you would find financial services integrated in all of those areas. Now, as we talk about trust, what does this mean? This means that, no, sorry, just go back to the previous slide. What this means is that the way we think about customer experience today then becomes totally different, because your customer journeys, which typically will start at onboarding or when your customers come to your branches or download your mobile apps, no longer become the case. It may then mean that you are only a participant in a journey. It may mean that a journey starts with somebody else, maybe another bank comes to you. It may start in the church, it may start in the mosque, it may start maybe at the supermarket, and then passes through the bank and goes on. Now, what that means for us as banking practitioners or financial services practitioners is that the mindset to experiences, the mindset to dealing with our customers then becomes totally different. It means that if you're going to deliver great customer experience, you necessarily have to be working with a lot of other people. I know for many of our banks today, we're all doing partnerships with different people, airlines, hospitals, the payment gateways, and all of those individuals who sometimes have issues, but then your customers take out the frustration on you. And that's what it means going forward, that you have to collaborate with all of those third parties. Today, we do bank assurance. Today, we do buy now, pay later. What you have on the screen is just a classic example of what partnership looks like. A number of our banks now have the buy now, pay later product. And if you look at this, this is a schematic. You have your customer as one end. There's someone else who is the issuer. There's someone else who is the acquirer. And then when you look at the merchants are borderless. Now, what that means is that any of these actors can influence the experience of your customer. And it means that you then need to have a framework for working effectively with all of these third parties to deliver great experience to your customers. Now, I'll take a slightly different tone, just going into the future. I'm sure we all now are talking a lot about artificial intelligence. And some people say that in the future, life without AI would be like life without electricity. And that's becoming here and now. Now, what does that mean? It means that we're seeing a lot of opportunities. If you go on to the next slide, particularly within banking and within a number of the businesses we play in, where AI is offering opportunities to enhance the customer experience. So for many of our corporate communications or corporate affairs colleagues here, I imagine that some of you are writing your newsletters, you're writing your articles now using ChatGPT or some other form of AI, for instance. And maybe if you're not, then you might want to start doing that. I see some of our HR colleagues as well using AI to review CVs, using AI to write letters to people and all of that. People are using AI to generate content as well. So we would see a lot of the impact of AI in shaping customer experience. There's a technology company today that has developed a solution that allows you to even create your social media ads just using artificial intelligence. So it ingests all of the information around what you are doing, the history of your campaigns, how successful they've been, how unsuccessful they've been, takes all of that knowledge and then begins to recommend the types of ads that you should put forward or put out to your customers. So that's the future of customer experience as we see it. But then AI as well presents some challenges as well, because we're talking about trust. It also presents some trust challenges. If we go on to the next slide, and then the next one. This is a classic example of what you might see happening a bit more in the future, because today we're talking about trusted financial services. So this is one example in Hong Kong where some people used AI to generate all the application